Hi, everybody. Good to see you all here. I hope you are enjoying your day and you are ready to listen to some of our interesting stories. My name is Josef. I'm 7 years in DHL, combining architecture, APIs, product management roles, and now I'm leading few API teams, helping them on the API journey. Sometimes I'm referred to API guy, so in case if you would want to remember that. And yes, I had my fingers in integration and architecture topics throughout the whole DHL group. Harry?
All right. Thank you, Josef. So my name is Bouras, as you can see in the slides. I'm heading the API team, and we're working closely together with Josef. We're aspiring for everything API related in the API community of DHL, and I'm leading the team for the last 3 years into the space of APIs. I've started as a manager, then being a head of, but it has been an exciting journey nonetheless. So from all these 20 years, I think that I have in total in IT, I can say that the motto that we go in DHL by is connecting people and improving lives. And I couldn't find any better technology actually than API is doing exactly what we're asked for. So, Joseph, the stage is yours again.
Yeah, thanks, Harry, for your nice introduction. Let's check what we have into the agenda for you. Don't worry, there are not that many slides. For sure, no diagrams, so we can focus on our way of thinking and how we deal with some API topics in 2024. When we originally sat down and started to think, okay, let's speak about some success stories of our great achievements in API world. We were thinking about what is the success story, right? Is it some specific project, some new technology, or someone being recognized, for example, as an API guru? But then the solution came up naturally. We have customers, we have business, and we have the people who are actually the ones driving this through. So let's have some stories about that, about those stuff. And of course, this year was tough. It brought a lot of hidden gems up to the lights, but as well it learned us one thing or two. So we would like to share about those as well. Moving up to the slide where we would like to first start thinking about what is it API and transformation in the terms of DPDHL. I think Harry would have a few words here to start with.
Yep, and thank you, Joseph, for that. I think at the moment that the question is still valid, right? So it's still a hot topic in 2024, and I think thanks to this fourth industrial revolution, right, and post-pandemic reality, I cannot think of anything more than the information age having the APIs leading the heap of technology and the cutting-edge technologies that we're utilizing there. So combined with the top-notch tooling and platforms that we have in our belt to deliver the best of services, I think APIs are coming and combining everything all together in a nice way. So I believe, and seeing as well in DHL is no difference, that the transformation and digitalization agenda is full of APIs. And that means that our messages and everything that we do are being passed on through this technological stack. Either that be tracking, either that be a shipment that we want to know where it is at any given time, generating labels, or even the platform itself. I think the API driven world is there more than ever. And together, I think we can make something substantial there. So thank you for the beautiful motto, Joseph. I think it's still relevant and more hot than ever, if I would say.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. So let's try to check how that could look like from our customer side, right? What we could bring to our customers, something new, innovative in 2024. DPDHL is quite big company, right? We are driving all around the world. We have a lot of services supporting our business, and as well, we are in the API business already for quite some time. Yeah, and we already have things in place, and it's like with a car. Yeah, you have already four wheels. You are not going to add the fifth wheel just to improve stuff, right? You really need to think from different angles where we can improve. And in this specific topic, we took one specific use case, and that's our unified shipment tracking API. I hope everybody knows that API, right? When you order a package, right, and then you are waiting for that shipment to come to the home or specific place you want to pick it up, you are tracking where it is. And for that, this API is serving quite well. Yeah. Uh, this API is able to handle billions requests per month, and everything works fine, right? It is scaling, it is resilient. So what can be improved? And so we try to get it from the different perspective, and we're thinking about, okay, we are having more and more packages day by day. It means that our infrastructure on our service is, of course, getting more impact, right? It's being more used. So we have to, in the end, pay more money, right? We are having increased costs just to make sure that the service is providing the same quality, no matter the load it is. But nothing is limitless. So what we did, we came up with, I think it's 2 years already, a topic to enable our customers to not do regular API calls to track where their shipments are, but to just register to some specific solution with their application, which will then get this updates proactively when it happens, right? So it's faster, right? And in the end, cheaper. Yeah, I will get to that. When we brought up this solution to the production state, we onboarded it to one of our business customers. We already see an improvement on our side and on their side. On their side, it was about that they could, without additional investment into their infrastructure, they could, which was, for example, last year, one of the limiting aspects for the business. This year, they didn't have to touch it, and nevertheless, they were able to handle the much bigger load. And the same was for different customer when they decided to go away from the standard REST API functionality to track their shipments. They went fully to this push API, this event-driven solution, and that way we already did some counting, and they are already saving like 50k euros a year. Yeah. And if you consider that it is for one client, you can see who has the impact on the larger global scale. Harry, do you want to say?
Yeah, sure. I think this is the king of the use cases, as you already mentioned, Josef, right? I think you covered the topic quite well. If I can put it in a nutshell, I think we started with a few hundreds of thousands calls, right? API calls a few years back. I think we surpassed 1 billion calls in October, which actually confirms what we were talking before, that never than ever, the transformation through the APIs of a business is actually a very hot topic. And looking at our new motto, right, that we are accelerating sustainable growth, and it actually touches 4 different pillars in the strategy of the group. I believe that this API actually proves its case even there, where, as you said, we brought a push API into place. And together with our commitment of driving the costs in a sustainable way, we're also driving our ecology in a sustainable way as well by reducing the CO2 emissions by not stressing the infrastructure into the extent that will actually produce more emissions, and that wouldn't comply with our zero emission policy of 2050. So the push API technology is something that was brought on a legacy setup. As you said, that we have a legacy, if we can call it REST API's legacy, but we brought it to the next level thanks to the use of push. So that actually proves again the value that we are accelerating our sustainable growth through the use of modern and cutting edge technologies even here. And thank you for driving this forward.
Yeah, and thanks for reminding it's not only about technology, but as well the impact what we do around ourselves. So if we move, what the success stories could mean for our business, right? And I mean really our different business units, our partners. We have identified 3 different use cases we could think about its own success stories, right? The first one would be internal API management, right? Usually when this API transformation comes into some organization, always there is the main focus, the customers, right? The consumers, the ones who are paying to make the business successful, right? But there are points enabler points which needs to be taken care of as well, and those are usually handled internally, right? You have finances, you have HR, you have some internal processes, internal systems which need to communicate with each other. And last year in 2023 we were showcasing how we approach this internal API management capability within our company, quite successful. And the success story for it is that it got visible to our business colleagues as well. And with that, what we built, we enabled some of their APIs to be maximally controlled within our infrastructure. We have the maximum control within our data. The data are not leaving anywhere, and with just this starting point, we are now at the stage that we are considering this for the specific partner to leverage this solution on our enterprise level architecture, which is quite big success from my point of view.
And I
From the
think
other,
just to
yep,
just a little bit of a parenthesis here, I think every big organization, and we're one of them, right? Having our 500,000 employees around the world, and God knows how many services are involved. But the most important aspect, I think, of the internal API management, on top of what you mentioned, is that we're driving the IT architectural convergence, right? So we want to have a very unified approach when it comes to approaching APIs, and also have an infrastructure that actually complies with all the internal policies and standards. And I cannot see a better way than bringing everybody on board from this way. And I think that was a spectacular achievement of the internal API management platform.
thanks, Ray. Thanks, Ray. From the central API portal point of view, you can see now in the landscape of size of the HR group, right? You have a lot of number of APIs, you have a lot of API platforms, right? And the challenge is how to manage it. We are a few years already in the API business, and we tried to build centralized platform. We tried to build the centralized API portal, but as you can guess, it's nowhere as easy as in our landscape. We are consisting of different business units, each of them having their own portals, own APIs. But what is the success story here is that we really made a decision on the global level between each of us that we are going to build one unified approach for our APIs, and that means as well to have one central API portal for the APIs which are facing to our customers, and as well for us. That's how do I see it. If I can,
Yep.
then I can move to the SMS API, which is more or less, for myself, I call it a fun use case, but still, SMS. This technology is with us for so many years, and the SMS technology is being used, for example, for our support, from our support team, to make sure that our services are running smoothly, and if something happens, they get the notification, they can start working on repairing of the issue. And when I heard that there is a use case coming to our team to build an SMS API, I was wondering, should that be something which is already being solved, maybe for 10-15 years? But that's what is nice about APIs. They can really, in an easy way, take some legacy solutions which may have some limited capabilities. They are hard to control, and you can actually merge it with API technology and provide it to the wide use, to all the systems within the PDHL and even outside, through the easy way. Yeah, so that, even though I at the beginning considered it as like legacy funny stuff, it was a nice use case, yeah, to how the API can actually leverage something even in that stage. Yes, please, Harry.
I think that's you summarized it nicely. I think that's the biggest power of the new API technology we're using and the tooling we have to provide a mixture between the old and the new. And as you might know from the tech enthusiasts, right, the SMS started being a thing in December 1993. It's a 31-year-old technology where the first message was actually Merry Christmas. Yeah. And we're coming now in 2024, which is still a relevant platform to just do messaging. So from one messaging technology to the other, basically we're blending the old and the new together, and that's actually impressive on its own as a story. If you look at all of the use cases, I think more or less similar stories exist in more technical examples, right? By communication of databases and exchange of data from probably 30, 40-year-old setups. But SMS API is true that actually ring a bell in my mind. I was like, wow, we're still using SMSs in 2024. Yes, we do, not only for our customers and our tracking capabilities, but also for security reasons and announcements, where every basically customer has access to the SMS gateway without needing some extra application through the commercial ones available. And the API is on top of it to enable it. I'm really happy and excited that we managed to make something meaningful out of that. But I would never imagine that back 30 years ago that this would be a thing.
There was to be said, Harry. Yes. I think you can continue.
Yeah, definitely. So we talked about the business part, and I think there was a great value into every solutions that we have, but it would be needless to say that we wouldn't be able to do that without our people, right? And our people is the one who is enabling all these technological stacks to come to life. I think we have, I'm certain we have a great deal of investments to our people, not just by training, but also by active leadership. And I think Josef here as well has done a great job into coaching the team and bringing it together. And then together with the synergies provided through the API evangelism, right, this is a nice word to use, within a big organization such as DHL, to have people who are really doing the API consultancy part and not only sharing of best experiences, best practices, architecture improvements. I think the API world touches everything, right? Everything from network to front-end business facing access management for the APIs we have to be integrated to other systems. So I think that's the power of this technology as well, to bring you closer to a lot of topics. And definitely to be an API engineer means you're a jack of all trades, because you're using a lot of backends and systems that are quite different technology. But again, API evangelism is part of this journey. I think every business should be able to enable some kind of an API community so that the transformation reaches to every stage and to every vein of the organization up to its roots, so that everybody is aware of what the API world is and what it does. And I think it's relevant now more than ever to every employee in a small or a big business. And definitely, I think we saw this one as well with the Gen AI world, and this is where it's becoming interesting, because you have the use of APIs enabling Gen AI communication. Yeah. So even with a more new technology than the API communication, you see that it's still needed and it's still very relevant. And I think Gen AI pushed the limits and boundaries of the existing API architecture in different ways. So we've seen a lot of challenges coming up that actually enable us to have new features. How do we stream the API calls as well, for example? So Gen AI driven transformation actually led again to more APIs and more business related to that field.
Yeah, and if you want me to continue with this software delivery platform, this thing is a little interesting because whenever there is this API journey started, it is always about trying to first understand what is the API, what are the API technologies, how to approach the API development, how we should approach the governance, etc. So we did it as well. We decided about the technology, we created guidelines, etc., and we were quite successful. But then when you try to scale it on the global, like really on the global level, you then start to experience sometimes the challenges with specific use cases, or they can be small, they can be big, but it usually gets to the point that the API teams are suddenly struggling with enabling this API capability quickly, because they are fighting with a layer one layer below, and that's actually the hosting to actually be able then to provide this API capability, right? So it's on-prem, it is a cloud, and what we are now planning to do, again, one of the successful decision, and just showing that we are really keen to provide our people the best technology and as easy as possible solutions for them to build some new values, is that we are going to provide them a simple way how to provision a platforms which can then be hosting their APIs. And just a side word, and I think it's again enabled through the APIs, right? So that
I think that sums it up nicely. Can we look at the next? Is there something else, or
as the next is just wrap up. So
yeah, definitely. Let me put a final statement together with you, Josef. I believe that lessons learned here is that we're not done yet. I think we have a lot in our on our table to complete here together with our vendors and our senior management. DHL is a big group. I think the API topic, again, as we mentioned, touches everyone. And I believe that in the years to come, we haven't seen everything through the use of AI. Probably we will unlock even more. And definitely, we want to bring more values to the business by reducing our eco footprint together with everything. So, accelerating sustainable growth comes here as the new lessons to be learned. And the lessons that we learn is that the transformation never stops. So, that's my key. But how do you see it actually?
I would see it exactly as it is written, like those three words: business, people, common sense. That nicely summarize what I want to say as the following. Yeah, it's that we have to really always have in mind that our actions, whatever we are working on, will affect our business, and as well it will affect our people, right? And if those things which we are doing doesn't make sense, the impacts will be negative. So when I wouldn't suggest, if someone would want to try to think about how to simplify the next steps in the way of digitalization or API transformation, I would really start thinking about basic questions like how it will affect my business, how it will affect my people, and does it really make sense to do it what I want to do. That would be my closing
Thank you,
words.
Joseph. I think it's a pleasure and a privilege to have that together. And I think it's a very, very nice closing sentence. So I think we're concluded here.
Thank you very much, Harry. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.